brought to you almost live from the Dude in the Basement studios. Why? Because that's where the good stuff is. It's Sips, Suds, and Smokes with your smoking hosts, the good old boys. Suds. It's time for more Suds.
Hey, like your favorite blanket on a warm, cold, cold. As you're trying to warm up on a cold night.
Like a wet blanket.
Here we are again to ease your fears and help you with the world of beer. Hi, everyone.
Wow. Hello.
This is another Suds segment where really good beer meets very questionable radio, but we're still going to work at it anyways. With me today at this table, luckily we have enough room at the table for everyone, is good old boy Dave.
If I peed my pants, would you pretend I just got wet from the rain?
Yes, because it is raining today, so you're covered. Thank you.
Well, consider it done.
Wow. Good old boy Kendall, welcome back.
Oh, I'm so happy to be here, especially for this wonderful show.
Yay. Good old boy Drew.
So glad to be back and ready to get to belching.
All right. I like this guy.
Well, that pretty much says it all, doesn't it? Mm-hmm. And good old boy Timmy.
Oh, hey there, young fella. Bringing me good news today?
Hola. Bienvenidos a todos.
I'm sure he'll be sharing a lot of good news here in a minute. Okay, well, today's episode is a brewery takeover from the Northeast.
Dun, dun, dun.
Yes, Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers is a lager-only brewery from Framingham, Massachusetts. Before we get started, though, this Suds episode is brought to you by
Stuff and Things. Do you like stuff? Do you need things? Come on down to Stuff and Things. We have more stuff than anyone, and our things are very competitively priced. Stuff and Things, things and stuff, stuff and things and stuff and things. Now, with more stuff.
Oh, Framingham. Sorry, Framingham, Massachusetts.
Oh, I was a typo.
I'm just saying, if there's a state that's going to jump on you about pronouncing their city incorrectly, it's probably
so sorry.
Massachusetts.
Framingham.
As opposed to
Farmingham.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay. Well, the copy editor, he's got to go.
That's what happens when you write scripts while you're
Did you hear that
drinking.
podcast they're talking about Farmingham?
Oh
they're gonna, that was my Boston accent.
That was good. Yeah, because they're not going to rip us for that.
Yeah. Okay.
Banned once again.
Well, good old boy Dave, why don't you try to redeem yourself here, if you can, and tell us
By
about
reading? Yeah,
Jack's
that always
Abbey.
works. Founded in 2011 by three brothers, Jack, Eric, and Sam Hindler, Jack's Abbey has become a mainstay of the craft brewing scene in the Northeast and nationwide. The Hindler brothers grew up in a family that promoted entrepreneurship and hard work. Spending summers with their grandfather and working at the family's ice distribution company, they learned the value of committed family members and loyal employees, the foundation of which Jack Abbey is based. I can also tell you that they have won... Yeah, I was reading something I actually was going to say. I can also tell you they've won a butt-ton of awards. So there.
Butt-ton.
Butt-ton, yeah.
Butt-ton?
Takes 12 crap loads to get a butt-ton. So, look it up.
Thank you. That was so eloquent. Yes, sir. Okay. Good old boy Kendall, would you mind telling us our lineup for today?
I would be delighted to. The Jack's Abbey Craft Lagers we'll discuss today are Mass Rising Double IPL, Kiwi Rising Double IPL, Hoponius Union IPL, the House Lager, the Calyptra Session IPL, Smoke and Dagger Black Lager, Bourbon Barrel-Aged Framinghammer Baltic Porter, and the Cordon Rouge Framinghammer Baltic Porter aged in brandy barrels.
Oh, Framinghammer. Now it all makes sense. Wow.
Wow. That's
Yeah, use hammers to frame, not to farm, I guess.
sure.
You could
Although
farm
you
with a hammer.
could farm with it.
I suppose.
In
Is
Soviet Russia,
In the labor
Sure.
camps.
Okay.
hammer farms you.
Yeah, you got to
Wow.
beat the crops out of it.
Fine.
Bam.
Fine.
Once again.
Yeah, pretty much.
From
Okay.
Russia, from Soviet era Russia. Yeah.
Banned
Comrade.
once again.
Wow. Well, thank you very much, Kendall, for that.
And we're done.
Yeah.
Pack it on, everyone.
Stop it. No. So, Drew, would you mind giving us the Suds ratings for today?
Absolutely.
Changing it up.
We'll be discussing and rating these beers with these Suds ratings, plus our signature belching sounds. Here are those ratings now. 1. That sucks. Give me anything but a bud. 2. Was that a belch? 3. Ah, what a relief. 4. A body should really not make that sound. And 5. Listen to that hang time. Give me another.
One of our other hosts, good old boy Caperton, created some controversy on another episode about 4 and 5. And is ethereal music better than applause?
Yeah, that sounded like when Toe Jam and Earl, when you get an extra life, you would get the blessing from the skies.
Choirs of
and
angels.
that's about as high as it gets, right?
I don't know. You got the golf clap there on number 5. Just kind of going.
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? We'll just leave it out there. Maybe if anybody listening has an opinion, or if anybody's listening,
After rating us a 5, please let us know which you prefer.
when you give us a 5-star rating, let us know, were you clapping or did you hear angels?
And we'll discuss that at the next staff meeting.
Every 5 Suds rating, an angel gets its wings.
Yes, of course.
Beer.
Thank you, Jimmy.
Wow.
Wow.
Exactly.
Okay, so let's get into the beer, shall we? Shall we?
Well, we need to.
Yeah. Okay. So we're going to start off with the Mass Rising Double IPO. In the spirit of their local history in Massachusetts, they are revolting against the status quo. Hey, that's how we got to where we are today, right? We are writing our own story by fueling the fire surrounding extra hoppy beers. We infuse Mass Rising with increasing amounts of American hops during the kettle, the hop bock, and dry hopping process. Hop back?
Hop back.
Yeah.
Great, it's a damn Farmingham all over again.
The Farmingham Hopbock, a new style, a play on the traditional bock.
Have we reached gate levels?
I think we have. Yes, so together we have taken a journey to redefine the term lager. This is an 8% puppy. Yes. So, what do we all think about the Mass Rising?
Kendall, go.
Okay, the first thing I noticed, you get that almost big malt sweetness character you get from some like double imperial IPAs. Even though they've got a ton of hops in them, there's so much malt in there you can't help but notice the sweetness.
Yep.
Had a nice, almost citrusy, floral type of hop character with a little almost herbalness to it. Great. I got a little even alcohol in the mouthfeel. At 8%, you start feeling it. Not really heat, but you kind of get the texture.
It's quite pungent.
That's a good word. Yeah, that's a good word. Alcohol texture. I like that. Okay. Sorry.
Wow.
I do.
Is that like bumpy or kind of scratchy? What kind of texture is alcohol texture?
A little filling.
Oh, okay.
Is it a
I was-
viscosity?
That's what I was thinking.
Yes.
Maybe slightly less viscous or more viscous.
I get a little more viscosity out of it.
Yeah, almost bordering on creaminess.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But it's not. 'Cause
It's the
lager.
booze.
Yes, it's the booze.
It's the booze messing with you.
Speaking of which, that was what I noticed immediately, was the booze and the sweetness from the malt. I probably was in the minority. Not one of my favorites, but...
it's definitely boozy. I mean, I think you can't get around that, but I think the hops sort of clean that up a little bit.
They do at the they do.
There's
they do
a
at the end.
crispness on the to the finish that is yes.
Yeah, it was still a little sweet for me personally. Different people like different levels of sweetness.
Look
but
at it, fellas.
It's
You crying, boy? You crying, boy? Maybe we'll go back down to McDonald's and
wasn't.
get you a Lamburger, some French fries. How about a Weineken? You little sissy boy!
that was a long clip.
Wow.
Just to make a point.
There was no point.
I get it. Anyways, as sweet as it was, the last little line of their thing says they've taken a journey to redefine the term lager, and I mean we'll probably go over that with other beers that we have, but it definitely does that, and it's really interesting and kind of fun to drink because if you keep thinking it's a lager as you're drinking and thinking about the booziness and the sweetness and the hops, it's a nice little adventure.
Yeah, agreed.
Yeah, and that's what I had to keep telling myself as I'm staring at the can as I'm drinking this is, okay, it's a lager. It's a lager, it's a lager, it's a lager, because it so did not taste like a lager to me. Mm-hmm. I mean, maybe there was like a tiny hint of butteriness at the end, but with all the hops and the maltiness, I just was thinking, yeah, this is like a double IPA. Anyways, any other thoughts?
Well, I guess, and this is something we'll have to discuss with each beer, is if these aren't really tasting like lagers, is that a good thing that they're creative and everything, or is that something where you can't judge it as a lager, you have to look at it as something else? I don't know.
Well, we'll be back with more discussion in just a brief minute.
Hey listeners, you've probably noticed a few more ads on the show lately. We don't like ads. You probably don't like ads. It's not really a surprise who does. But as we endeavor to do bigger and better shows, we've accepted the fact that it does take money to make this whole thing work. So, we want to offer you, our listeners, goods and services from companies that we trust and that we believe you will find relevant. Especially products that we have or would personally use ourselves. Please, consider testing out a product or service from one of our advertisers that helps support Sip, Suds, and Smokes. Don't forget to use our unique listener link or discount code on that product or service for the best deal. We only run one, maybe 2 ads per episode to help minimize breaks. Your ongoing support of our show and its advertisers really is humbling. We truly couldn't do it without you. Thanks, and we hope you enjoy the rest of the show.
Welcome back, everyone. So today we're discussing Jack's Abbey, which is a complete lagering brewery.
In Framingham.
Yes, in Framingham.
Framing.
Like the hammer.
Framing. Home of the Hopbock.
Yes. She's going to pop you one, dude.
No.
She didn't type it.
I'm just going to... Right. I'm not the copy editor here.
Hey, look. I'll pop you one.
Okay. So the beer that we were discussing just before the break was the Mass Rising Double IPL. And we were starting to get into a conversation of, well, if it doesn't necessarily taste like a lager, is that a good thing? Is that a bad thing? Is that a thing at all?
Well, I think, the main thing for me on a lager is I want it super clean.
Yeah.
So, other than that, maybe just hint of sulfur that should blow off pretty quick. Mm-hmm. You're not going to get a lot else out of it. So that's what I'm looking for, is just a really clean beer.
And that's how this ends, is a really clean beer. I mean, it starts off a little boozy, then you get malty, then I get hops, and then it finishes.
It goes away.
That's
Yes.
true, yeah.
I mean, so there's a testament to that.
There you go.
Anyways, so we rated this Mass Rising Double IPL from Jack's Abbey a 3. Yay. Okay.
What a relief.
Exactly. Okay, so now moving on, we're going to talk about the Kiwi Rising Double IPL. This one is intensely hoppy and strong lager that we refer to as a double India Pale lager. Hey, look at that. 4 kettle hop additions, whole leaf hops in the hop back. Oh, I did that right this time. And multiple dry hop additions infuse an intense floral and citrusy aroma and flavor. Poking the bear, poking the bear. Kiwi Rising has over 4 pounds of New Zealand hops per barrel, making it one of our hoppiest offerings. No kiwi fruit or kiwi birds were harmed in the production of the spear. And this guy is 8.5%.
Oh, boy.
So you can't say the same for kiwi livers.
No.
Nope.
Wow.
So, let us discuss the kiwi.
See, like they say, like this is really hop and intensely flavored, but it's like nice and smooth to me. This one I've got flavor from, but it wasn't like overwhelming or anything. It was very pleasant to drink.
Yeah, I was thinking when I saw that 8.5, it was going to have that same really malty sweetness that the last one did, and it kind of does. I mean, you definitely know there's a lot of malt in this beer, but you also get the passion fruit, the mango. I'm getting those tropical fruits, and it's way more balanced. I'm just not getting hit with sweetness. There's a lot going on here.
Well, it's interesting that you describe passion fruit and mango as one of the reasons that you're not getting hit with sweetness, and so both of those being sweet things.
Isn't that funny?
I agree. It's a balance. Well, it's a balance. You know, you're getting the extra sweetness from the passion fruit and the mangoes, and it's balancing out the sweetness from the booze. Say, I agree 100%. The other one was just a little too boozy malty. This is very enjoyable.
Yeah, maybe it has something to do with the hops and the characteristics you get out of the New Zealand hops and the Southern Hemisphere stuff.
Yep.
Because I got some floral notes too from it and floral taste. I liked it better than the Mass Rising. Still has that booziness, but it is balanced out better, and part of it probably has to do with the lager nature as well. It kind of cleans up pretty well.
Yeah, but for me anyways, after tasting the Mass Rising and then going to the Kiwi Rising, I almost feel like the Mass Rising was a bit more West Coastiness in flavor, whereas this one, yes, granted, the hops
West
are coming
Coast
from
lager.
New Zealand. Yeah,
West Coast
lager.
Yes.
West Coast IPL.
But the Kiwi Rising, to me, with the floral and the citrusy, like this is New England style IPL-ish. Yeah, I'm like creating
Wow, a
my-
New England IPL.
Would
Nice.
you like this beer the same
would
if
that
it
be
was
a
brewed with an
NEIPL?
ale yeast and done in that style? You know,
Right, exactly. But I think I mean, I like what they're doing, though, and I get it. Shut up.
They totally overshot my NEIPL joke.
I just got that one.
What?
Oh,
If it's a New England IPL, it's a NEIPL.
Oh.
Not a NEIPA.
Oh,
Yeah, you can order a NEIPL.
the Neeple.
Can I have a nipple?
I'll have a Neeple.
Cold NEIPL.
Tall, frothy nipple.
Can you say that with a Boston accent?
Hey, yo, come in.
No, I can't. The answer is no.
And no.
I lived there for a year, so, I mean, I heard enough of that.
He did not get fully acclimated.
You know, it's Worcester, it's not Worcester, so I know that much, but
Worcestershire sauce?
I don't know yet how to do the accent. I'll work on it.
Okay. Anyways, this would be the New England to the Mass Risings West, at least in my eyes. But still very good and very, I mean, granted it's in a bigger can, and I don't think I could, kill as many of these as some of the others that we'll be getting to.
We could try, though.
Yeah, absolutely.
We could certainly try, yes.
What did we rate this beauty?
As a matter of fact, the Kiwi Rising from Jack's Abbey, we rated a 4.
Nice. Good beer.
Yes. Now,
Dun dun dun.
for something flipping cool, we're going to talk about the Hoponius Union IPL. It harmoniously, like that word, combines lager yeast fermentation and West Coast IPA hops. Our India-style pale lager is like a traditional IPA but with a twist. It's fermented cold and aged for extended periods, as lagers do. A blend of classic American hops creates a huge tropical fruit and citrusy hop aroma. A dry finish accentuates the pleasant bitterness and hop profile. And this one is a flimsy 6.5% in relation to what we've been drinking.
It's a wee baby.
It is a wee baby. So, thoughts on this guy?
Wow.
Great beer.
Yeah. I said that wow was literally the first thing I wrote down in my tasting notes. I said it was an explosion of hops in the front end, and then a
explosion of something else in the back end.
Symphonic, harmonious center, and then a bitter, crisp finish. At a nice crescendo.
Oh wow! What's this guy?
It's like Mozart meeting Bartok or something.
I don't know why I went with the symphonic references on this one, but it was so delicious. It made me just go that much extra.
All right, rock on.
Very good,
Kendall. What about you, man?
What do you say after that?
This was one of the best IPLs I've ever had because it lived up to the promise of a lagered West Coast IPA.
Yep.
And it has all those classic Northwest bitter, piney, resiny, grapefruit things going on, but it's so crisp and clean and dry. And I've had a lot that claim to be IPLs, and I think they just take their IPA recipe and use lager yeast and see what happens.
Right. Yeah.
But this is just almost the perfect balance of what those two styles combined should be, and I thought it was excellent.
Yeah, it kind of gets me thinking about, because this one, I think, more than maybe the doubles, you can taste that it's a lager. And I mean that in a great way, too, because it helps with that finish, and it ends dry and crisp. And I really don't like when IPAs or IPLs or anything end cloyingly sweet, with that flavor just lingering. And it makes you wonder, too, if the lagering process affects the hops and in what way. I mean, the bitterness probably fades into a more palatable bitterness because of the longer fermentation times.
Mm-hmm.
You're probably dry hopping at lower temperatures if you do dry hop, and what kind of extraction are you getting there? So I think it lends to more than just, it's a lager finish or something like that. Kind of the whole process of the beer.
Probably does affect the nature of the hop oils when you're dry hopping at lower temperatures. Just it may be pulling out less of the grassiness.
Right.
So it is very good. Super good beer.
It's incredible, yeah.
I was worried about this one when I pulled it out of the 12-pack because I was thinking, oh, crap, this is going to be another West Coast IPA. And it's no offense to West Coast IPAs. I mean, there's a lot of people that absolutely love and adore them. But for me, it's always that bitter taste that keeps lingering and lingering afterwards. And I feel like I have to drink a lot of water then to, cleanse that out of my palate. I know, it's a girl thing.
That's half the fun.
Well, sure.
Yeah, that is half the fun, or most of it.
Hydration.
If your tongue's not burning at the end of it,
You're not alive, woman.
Yeah, and maybe me being a northeastern, mid-Atlantic girl,
I just don't like drinking it, but I like when I feel good after it.
Well, there's that. Yes. However, this blew me away, and now this is all I want. If I want a West Coast beer, I just want this because of that.
Good.
Yes, because the hop profile on it, yes, although it is very West Coasty and in your face, just the fact that it finishes so flipping cleanly to me, I could this would be a great go-to on the boat, in the summer. This is one of those where I can hang with the West Coast boys, but this is my own little secret kind of thing. Anyways. So, for...
Hanging with the West Coast boys.
Oh, yeah.
Just saying. Okay, so
West Side.
I wish they all could be California boys. It doesn't have the same ring to it.
No. I like my New England boys. Anyways.
Wait, what?
Oh.
Well, you're north.
We'll discuss this after.
Just talking about the NEIPLs.
Yeah. Oh, the NEIPLs.
And unscheduled break.
Everyone get out.
Okay, fine. So this beer from Jack's Abbey, the Hoponius Union IPL, we rated this, which should be no surprise, a 5.
Damn.
Okay, now let's talk about what I'm assuming is the beer that kind of started it all in terms of lagers. Their house lager. So it pulls inspiration from the numerous country lagers or land beers found in Franconia. It's sweet and golden with a full malt body that comes from using a traditional German malt variety. A special beer for year-round enjoyment, 5.2%. Guys, what do you think about this one?
Man.
Another great one.
Yeah. Okay, not everybody at once. Go ahead.
Well, you go first this time. Right?
Okay.
Go on.
Well,
you can do it.
This, this to me is like, this could be your daily beer, honestly, because, I mean, it's very smooth, just sweet enough to enjoy, but it still has a nice crisp finish to it. And it's just a really cool beer to drink, man, because, like I said, this could be my lawnmower beer. Yeah, I need them to send me a case of this because I have to mow the yard next week. So.
Okay.
Yeah, that's all I got. Yeah,
all right.
I like it.
It's, this is what lagers are meant to be. I mean, it really is. And if you think about it, pretty much everyone's ancestor can be traced back to somebody who was drinking something exactly like this way back in the day, right? And this was their version of a lawnmower beer. I mean, it was, right?
That's breakfast.
Yeah, because lagers came before ales in some countries.
Drink this and you go hitch up the mule team and mow the yard.
But, I mean, what a perfect base on which we've, been building upon. Well, we've been tasting what has been built upon this for the last few beers. I just think it's really incredible. And lagers can be lawnmower beers just like ales can be lawnmower beers. But very well balanced.
Yeah, I think they're better lawnmower beers. But this has it has a sweetness that I'm guessing comes from all the malt. But it's not like a finishing sweet thing. It's more of just like the malt body that kind of makes it a little creamy.
It's kind of in the middle and in the front. It's sweet.
Yeah, right. Exactly.
And it goes away.
It's almost like it's like some lagers for me taste like they have corn even when I know they don't have corn.
Yes, I know what you're getting at. Yes, yeah. I agree.
Well, that's all I'm getting at. You can expound upon that.
The flaked maize was something that I wrote. We were talking about viscosity earlier. I sort of feel it's in the same space on the tongue, if you will. But to the beer specifically, really, truly enjoyable. I agree. It is, lawnmower beer, creamy. You could have handed me this, told me it was a cream ale. I would have been like, yeah, absolutely. But that is sort of the purpose of that, of course. Sure. But I will admit I was somewhat of a skeptic as we came into this. Why put yourself in a lager box, and try to do all these different styles, but lagers and maybe they're just not good at doing lagers. Oh no, they're really good at doing lagers. They're really good at doing lagers.
Sure, and I wonder if part of that comes from them being a family of that
ice distributors.
Yeah, exactly. No. Because having to deal with cold temperatures. I mean, I know that sounds maybe stupid, but
sounds like good business.
Yeah, I mean,
it does make sense.
And lagers are hard to make. I mean, you really have to watch your temperatures on it, and not only that, but patience in letting them ferment out. Because we have some. I mean, the majority of us are brewers here, and we know, when we're watching that fermentation, we're like, okay, can you stop now? Can you finish? Can you finish? Can you finish? I mean, and that's just for a week or two, let alone a month or so. So, anyways, Kendall, thoughts?
It was a beautiful beer. It was one of my favorites. I'm not sure where Franconia is. I'm guessing it's close to France. But it reminds me of one of my favorite beers from Bavaria, and that's the Helles. It's very similar. Kind of has that bready, almost like bread crust, little bit of light toast to me coming across in this. But that sweetness is reminding me of the Helles, very floral hops that were used on this one. And it's a very similar, if not close cousin to that kind of style. And that's just one of my favorites. It's just an everyday, easy drinking beer. You can understand why they kill liters and liters of that over in that part of Germany. It's a wonderful, easy drinking beer.
Yeah, it really is. So for this one, which is the house lager from Jack's Abbey, we rated it a 4. Now, moving on to something a little bit more exotic. can I say? Yeah. The Calyptra Session IPL. And I say Session IPL. Wrap that one around your head for a second. So this hoppy lager is brewed with 2 intense and aromatic hops, Calypso and Citra. Citra's like everyone's fan these days.
Oh, Calyptra. See how they did that? These guys are good.
Wow.
Man.
Pretty
Framingham.
Yeah. Farmers up there.
It's an easy drinking brew.
Framers.
Yes. Well, I'm sure a few of them were the framers of the Declaration of Independence.
If there was a boo, I'd play it. I can only give you that.
Like Sam Adams.
Right.
Wasn't he a framer?
He was a framer.
The Constitution.
And a lager.
Ha. Okay. It's an easy drinking beer that balances dominating fruity, citrusy, and tropical aromas with a sessionable malt body. This one is 4.9%. Does it taste 4.9%, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Fine.
Mm-hmm.
Does
That's
it
not
to
a
you?
bad thing. I mean,
No.
it's a small beer. Which, I mean,
It's really, really crisp. I love it.
yeah.
Yeah, I liked it a lot more than a lot of session IPAs or IPLs that I have. It's not like just hop water, hop tea. There's beer in there, even though it's only 4.9%.
Yeah. Well, and it feels like with a lot of those session IPAs, it's like they took their IPA recipe and just scaled it down and just kind of went with it instead of building a recipe for a 4.9% beer. And it feels like these guys built this recipe and kind of made it to fit this ABV. I like it.
And I'm wondering if the complexity of lager yeast kind of helps a session beer out. Because, okay, what's the biggest thing about session IPAs, right? You have to be low on the malt. Well, anyways, we'll discuss this when we come right back.
It's not just the destiny.
Good news! For the first time ever, the Adam Carolla Show is in virtual reality. Live Saturday, April 21st. Just a one-time $4.99 subscription, and you can see it on your phone or your computer in virtual 360 reality. You don't need glasses, only a web-enabled device. Experience a live show from the comfort of your own internet. It's not going to air as a regular show, so you can only see it in person Saturday, April 21st, or buy the VR download and watch on your favorite device. Get it at podcastone.com/CorollaVR. Podcastone.com/CorollaVR.
Hey, everyone. Welcome back.
Well, thank you.
Thanks.
Sure.
So glad to be here.
Well, I meant the people that are listening to us, too, because they're still listening
That's a
to
bold
us.
assumption on your part.
Oh, that's a bold assumption on Julieanna's part. Yeah.
All right, fine.
Still listening at
I'm
this
just
point?
an optimist. I'm an optimist.
I stopped listening like 5 minutes ago.
Look,
Welcome back,
sure-
Mom.
I'm sure
Who
there's
are
a
all
few
you people?
Wait a second. I'm right here, dude. Kids these days, I swear. So for those of you that are still with us and just tuning in or whatever, or if you're after your beer break, we're talking about Jack's Abbey, which is a lagering brewery. And the discussion that we had is we were talking about the Calyptra Session IPL and the fact that maybe the yeast lager was helping out this IPL because it doesn't taste as watery, for lack of a better word, as a lot of session IPAs that I've had before are. And there's a fine line here between bringing down your malt bill to get that ABV where you want it, but also instilling a lot of flavor. So, any thoughts on maybe if the lagering yeast is helping this kid out?
Yes.
Agreed.
It certainly could. Yeah.
Okay.
I'm certainly no biologist or anything, but there were some notes that I took of this beer that I didn't expect to. What was it? I had vegetal, like I said, tarragon was almost one of the first things that
This was the tarragon.
This was the tarragon beer. Yeah,
Sure.
for some reason I got like a tarragon note from it, and maybe that's coming from that yeast. It's something else is able to develop. Who knows?
Yeah, I hear calypso music as I drink it. Some steel drums and some island moves. Yeah.
And he's shaking his hips more.
And tarragon.
Yeah.
Yeah, if you can hear my shakes over the airwaves.
But there's definitely not a lot of malt in this. And just looking at this beer, that beautiful straw to yellow color, I'm guessing it's mostly just Pils malt because it's a really light, beautiful color.
Yeah, it's very blonde.
You're not getting a lot of flavor from that malt. I really feel like the hops are what's really doing it, because the yeast you're not getting anything from that. I don't think. Nope. From that clean lager, this is really a showcase for the hops.
Okay.
Fizzy hop water.
Okay.
But in a good way.
Yeah, but
this one's not as watery to me. I mean,
no. I don't mean like that. I just mean, like, to Kendall's point, that the hops are riding along on top, and that's what you're really getting.
I mean, with the style, I think you can't avoid that.
No, you can't. But it's still very well balanced. And I'm just, the more that I'm drinking it, the more I'm enjoying it.
It's purdy.
It is. It's very purdy. Okay. So for this beer from Jack's Abbey, the Calyptra Session IPO, we rated this a 4.
Good job, Jack's Abbey. You guys are getting it done. In Framingham. I'm going to keep saying that.
Yeah, you try to redeem yourself there, buddy. Okay, so now let's go for something completely different. And you knew it had to happen. You knew it. You can't have all these pretty blondes. You got to go dark sometimes.
Whoa.
So the Smoke and Dagger Black Lager, cloaked in mystery, this dark black beer skirts the line between a Schwarzbier and a smoked porter. The use of a small percentage of traditional beechwood smoked malt adds complexity and balances the liberal use of chocolate malt. Notes of roasted grain, beechwood smoke, and coffee accompany a full-bodied and sweet chocolatey malt character. This one is 5.6%.
Finally, a nice, delicious beer that has beechwood in it.
Yeah, it's tough.
Really?
Well, I'm saying a lot of the beers that... How do
you go about beechwood aging?
Well, I think, if you age on beechwood, that could work, but I haven't seen a lot of evidence that it does work.
Oh, wow.
Not naming names.
Right. Of course.
Dilly.
So, me personally, I like this beer. I'm a smoky girl. I like dark beers anyways.
And New England boys.
You're cloaked in mystery.
I am cloaked in mystery.
She is.
Yes. I'm one of a few girls that likes those Isla smoky, peaty, iodine Band-Aid type of beer or whiskeys. So this is right up my alley. But the smoke aroma on this is really pretty, I think.
I like it because the smoke is very subtle. Like, I used to not like smoked beers at all, but over time I've kind of gotten more into them. But I still don't like it when the smoke overpowers everything else, and I think it complements the kind of the sweet malts in this beer.
Yeah, I'm gonna have to disagree with you there, Dave. I got the smoke on the nose instantly, and it seemed like a very subtle smoke, but when I tasted it, it's a lot bolder than I expected.
Yeah.
And that's really all I get. I definitely get the chocolate, a little roast coffee going on, but to me the smoke is just the most dominant thing about this beer.
When I tasted this when it was colder, I would have agreed with Dave more. Now that it is sat, the smoke has definitely become more prominent. I feel that it's
coming out more, yeah.
It is still balanced. I very much enjoyed it. I could have 1 to 4 of these without too much trouble.
Yeah, 1 to 4. Yeah,
1 to 4. That's a nice,
but not
solid range.
Not a 6-pack. He's not going to drink a 6-pack of this beer.
Yeah,
Can you imagine your head in the morning after a 6-pack of this beer? That would be the worst headache in the world.
Yeah, I've never been a huge smoky beer guy. It has to be very subtle for me, and this one is not.
It's a little strong.
Yeah, I agree with. I'm on Team Kendall over here with this one. I go back and forth on smoked beers, but I really think it comes down to what it was smoked over. And beechwood for me is generally too much. I don't know. We used to work at the homebrew store, and we called it stanky malt because that malt stinks. Like, you open a bag of it, anyone in the store can tell. And, you're just kind of chewing grain throughout the day because you got a bunch of bags of barley, and that one is not one you ever ate.
You didn't chew a big...
That and some cherry wood smoked. It's just, I don't know. For me, they come across as too harsh, too astringent, too Band-Aid. I don't taste Band-Aid, but it gets my mind going down that road. Some phenolic...
Yeah, right.
I don't know, warning sign. So, it's not a terrible beer. And the other thing is, like, smoke beers are so kind of delicate, I think. And I do think they do the level of smoke well. I'm just not a fan of the beach. I'm pale and I get burnt.
Wow.
I'm pale and I get burnt too, but I'm taking the beach. Yes, you take after your mother in that regard. I enjoyed this a lot. I think it's a little bit... it is a little bit more aggressive than what some black IPLs would be, but I'm fine with that. And if I may take a brief second here to talk about the fact that this was part of a 12-pack, and the fact that they included this as well as the House Lager and the Calyptra and the Hoponius. I thought this was like a really... I mean... In terms of mix packs, I think this is like the perfect balance for anyone who, A, wants to try this brewery out, but B, it's something for everyone. You know what I mean? So
there is, yes.
I mean, and I think it's safe to say that all of us in this room have different palates. We all have our niche beers that we enjoy and our go-tos. And, I mean, for me, this is huge for me, I'd be happy with any one of these, But the black lager I liked a lot myself.
Yeah, this mix pack is pretty awesome.
Yeah. It is. I mean,
I don't buy many. I'd buy this one.
Exactly.
I think too, though, the smoked beer, even if you don't like drinking it, then you could take it and marinate some pork chops in it.
Oh, absolutely. Make a little chili.
Yeah,
that would be incredible.
Reduce it down and maybe put it over a little vanilla ice.
And I'd still drink some.
Oh, with a little balsamic vinegar, dude.
Yeah, there you go. Bam.
Are there any cans left?
Not anymore.
No, not anymore.
They've all been spoken for.
Okay, so this beer from Jack's Abbey, which is the Smoke and Dagger Black Lager, we rated this a 3. Although some of us liked it more. Okay, now we're moving on to the big hitters. And I mean big hitters.
The Framinghammer series.
The Framinghammer series.
I think there's a baseball team in Framingham, maybe?
Yes, there is a baseball team in Framingham. Yes.
So
there's a lot of baseball going on in that state.
Absolutely.
Even though their stripes are not the right color for me.
Oh, they're the best.
You can call it baseball. I mean, they try.
Wow. That was the year that I lived there, was when they won the first World Series, and I was raised a Yankee fan, and it felt so incredibly strange watching that whole town so happy. It was like, what, 04,
But
05?
I mean, but good for them. Good for
It was
them.
insane.
Good for them. I mean, that's cool. It just, they're the wrong stripes. Okay.
They already weren't going to like us after the Framingham issue.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah.
I don't think they were going to like us at any point anyways. But again, you guys are assuming people are listening.
Okay.
True.
So let's talk about Baltic Porters. And Baltic Porter is a style that can go either way. You can brew it as an ale. You can brew it as a lager. Personally, I like it better as a lager, but we'll get into that in a minute. So, with that in mind, we're going to talk about the bourbon barrel-aged Framinghammer Baltic Porter. Big, bold, and black, and aged in bourbon barrels, this unusual lager style has many similarities to imperial stouts. A lengthy conditioning period creates a silky, smooth, chocolatey mouthfeel enhanced by the use of oats and brown sugar. Noticeable sweetness gets balanced by roasted malt and hop bitterness. Additional flavors include bourbon, vanilla, and oak. Guys, what do you think about this guy?
I hadn't read the description because I'm terrible, but I didn't see the part about it being similar to an imperial stout, which is I think a lot of what we were talking about. I mean, you get a lot of barrel in this beer, and maybe it's like smoky beers. You can go either way. I don't mind a lot of whiskey and bourbon and spirit character in my barrel-aged beers. So I thought this beer was great.
It is
creamy.
Yeah. Wow. It is creamy. It is thick. It is viscous. I love the way this style just sort of lingers on the tongue. And the dark fruits on this, to me anyways, are absolutely beautiful. I'm getting dark prune and I'm getting dark raisin, and it's not the brighter end of the dark fruit spectrum. It's the deep abyss, if you will. But I thought this was nice. And yes, there is a lot of oak coming from it, but I thought it was balanced and nice.
As it's warmed up.
Was that an
technical difficulties in the studio?
Right.
Okay, but as it's warmed up, I think it's gotten better. Of the two of these we're going to taste, I like the other one better, but this one's got a lot of flavors starting to come out that are kind of overpowering that barrel. When it was cold, all I got was barrel.
Yeah.
And especially almost that oak tanniny that I always get. I was picking up just the vanilla and the oak itself, more so even than the bourbon. And I thought that was kind of dominating. But as it's warming up, you're right. Those dark fruit flavors, the chocolatiness of it's coming out. It's good beer.
Yeah, chocolate and toffee and dark fruit.
Yes, toffee. Yes, sorry, I forgot to mention that. Yeah.
There's so many. And again, to Kendall's point, the barrel was the dominant flavor when it was cold, but which I liked. I got a ton of vanilla on but now all that has sort of backed off a little bit, and you're getting a more balanced variety of flavors as it warms up. It's pretty cool.
I agree. I did not like it at all, really, to begin with. And
he spit it out when he first tried it.
I wouldn't go so far as to say I spit it
on
out.
Tim, which I approved of.
I thought it tasted great.
But most of it made it back into the glass,
mouth aged.
And now that I've been revisiting it, as it is warmed up, it is. I get sort of a burnt sugar, caramel, toffee. Yeah. I'll say it's not all barrel, not all vanilla. I'm not vanilla in beer. No. It's always too much. It's always too much.
Yeah, there was a lot of vanilla.
Nope.
Always too much. This was better as it warmed.
Agreed.
But I think that's the thing about Baltic porters in general is I like the way they morph. They're almost one flavor profile when you first pull them out of the fridge.
Yes.
And then as they warm up, they really morph into something. I'm a girl here when I say this, but it's almost like a flower opening up. I know this sounds stupid, but
are you going to talk about the birds and the bees or something?
No,
okay.
I'm not. No. But what I'm saying is okay, for instance, here it is, not Christmas, and my amaryllis is blooming. And the thing that's cool about watching this thing every day is that it is completely morphing into something completely different. To me, I kind of related to this Baltic Porter style is that it starts off as something, and then it turns into something completely different. And that's what I love about this, and what I love about dark beers. But
that's why we always say, like, a lot of these beers you should definitely try to let it open up and warm up.
Okay.
What did we rate this?
Yes. So this one, which is the bourbon barrel aged Baltic Porter, we rated this a
4.
And now quickly we're going to move on to the Cordon Rouge, which is the same style, same base, but this one was aged in brandy barrels and a bit of orange peel. How did you guys think this one differed?
Phenomenal.
I loved it. It was so much brighter. The orange peel, I was getting the dark fruit, almost like a cherry and a plum coming out in this from I don't know what kind of brandy it was, but it was brighter and more beautiful than the bourbon barrel.
Agreed.
Oh, yeah. Smooth and sweet and brandy, delicious.
Yeah, and I never would have thought that a brandy barrel being, like, already complex in itself would just add to it, and enhance it and make it better. But this one really did. And we rated this one a 5. Well, ladies and gents, that ends our wonderful brewery takeover of Jack's Abbey. Thank you so much for joining us today. And you can watch or listen to all of our episodes online, as well as on Spreaker, TuneIn, Stitcher, YouTube, Google Play, and PRX. and Spreaker, our native media host. iTunes, Google Play, and our own Android app are the easiest ways to enjoy the show on your phone. Just search for Sips, Suds, Smokes on iTunes or in the Google Play Store.
We love your feedback, and you can reach us online at info@sipsudsandsmokes.com.
Hey, Kendall, why don't you tell us about your blog that you do?
My beautiful wife and I blog about the good news of good beer at beerbakes3.com, also on Instagram and Twitter and Facebook.
And don't forget, our daily tasting notes flow out on Twitter and Instagram every day at Sip Suds Smoke, and our Facebook page is always buzzing with lots of news.
Please take the time to rate this episode if you're listening online.
Well, I want to thank everyone for coming today and sharing the love of Jack's Abbey. Good old boy Dave.
Hey, check me out on Instagram at goodoldboydave and listen to my 60-second beer reviews.
Good old boy Kendall. Thanks for being here.
Oh, it's always a pleasure. Thank you for having me.
Good old boy Drew. Thanks for being here.
Thanks again.
Good old boy little Timmy.
Hey, yo, yeah, this was wicked. This podcast is wicked. Way to go.
This is good old gal Julieanna. Thanks so much for listening to us. Keep on chuggling and see you next time.
This has been a one-tan hand production of Sips, Suds, and Smokes, a program devoted to the appreciation of some of the finer slices of life. From the Dude in the Basement Studios, your hosts, the Good Old Boys, will see you all next time.